Spokesperson report 393. In front of the White House 62. Dismantle and nationalize the imperialist FRB and withdraw the imperialist US troops. The exploitation and plunder of imperialists on a world scale are getting worse. Transnational capital, led by the financial capital group under the system of state monopoly capitalism and modern imperialism, has exploited American people seriously. Also, it has trampled on the independence of the people over the world with the lead of the military and causing only humiliation and plundering. Especially, the financial capital group is monopolizing wealth around the world by dominating the policies of imperialist countries with the US at the peak and manipulating the economic crisis periodically. According to the Wealth Report 2020, it revealed that the top 1% accounted for 43.4% of the world's total wealth. The outbreak of worst virus recession in 2019, followed by the Great Depression with relative overproduction in 1929, the Inflation Recession in 1974, the financial recession in 2008 has extremely intensified the polarization of the wealth, inequality, and class conflict. The infinite greed of transnational capital has been backed up by the imperialist financial policy. The Federal Reserve System in the US has used the dollar's key currency to strengthen its control over currency and develop its dominance over the world economy. In particular, the Federal Reserve System executed quantitative and qualitative easing in large scale, purchasing monthly $120 billion of US Treasury bonds and mortgage-backed securities, besides cutting interest rates and quantitative easing last year in response to the COVID-19 economic crisis. Nevertheless, anxiety about economic slump and economic collapse, such as an increase in the unemployment rate, stagnation in the manufacturing industry, and bankruptcy in the airline industry in the US, are getting serious. As the most powerful country in the world as well as in name, the American people living in the US are exploited for their wealth from the inflation tax and can't get off the chains of debt. What does this reality of living a slave life tell us? The actual owner of the company, called the US, is the financial capital group that controls the FRB, and the US administration is just a puppet of the financial capital group. The dissolution and the nationalization of the Federal Reserve Bank, the home of the imperialist plunder, is the most acute task for the struggle of the American people. It has been a long time since it has been revealed that the more money is overrun by the privately operated FRB, the more it is passed on as debt to the American people. The former President Woodrow Wilson said the most regret in his life for signing the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, and he deployed the reality that the US is controlled by the credit system. That's why the former US Congressman Lindbergh's speech is full of significance. Not until the Declaration of Independence again would people can be free from the power of money. An attempt by the financial capital group to improve the American people by manipulating the left and right polarization of the Democratic and Republican parties in order to cover up the 99-1 polarization can break the American people's independence consciousness. Especially the current uncontrollable economic crisis and the collapse of people's livelihoods are triggering rage of the people. It is the most stringent task for independence for the American people to dismantle the FRB and make it in the people-centered nationalized finance system, because the people can no longer be lived as a slave. Where did the subordination and vulnerability of the economy of South Korea come from? The military occupation of U.S. imperialists in South Korea intensified the political suppression, economic exploitation, and cultural subordination, especially the neoliberal economic system forced by the IMF turned South Korean economy into the irrecoverable state. As a result, our people's livelihoods were completely destroyed. As due to the massive influx of foreign capital, the South Korean economy fell into the hands of the financial capital group and transnational capital, and because of the irregular employment of workers, massive unemployment, bankruptcy for the self-employed, social polarization became more severe. We are scientifically looking at the positive impact on all people in the world, as well as the people in South Korea and the US. If the FRB would dismantle and nationalize as the starting point of the South Korean economic crisis, it is inevitable that the struggles to realize a new people-centered society based on the people's revolutionary awareness. The awakened American people's struggle towards independence will surely dismantle and nationalize the FRB and withdraw all of the imperialist U.S. troops stationed abroad. February 24, 2021. In front of the FRB, Washington, D.C. Spokesperson Office of the People's Democracy Party.